This is the Universal Wrestling Podcast. Inside the ring, outside the ring, it's all here.
We're talking about the greatest sport of all, professional wrestling.
Now here's your host,
the cream of the crop,
Nick Dieterding.
Come on.
Welcome back to the Universal Wrestling Podcast. My name is Nick Dieterding. His name is Keith. Keith, what's up, brother? How are you? How you doing?
Living life. They call me Juicy. You can call me Keith. Just don't call me at a bad time.
Boom. Keith, I got some bad news for you. I deleted the recording, video recording of our interview with Mike Chioda, but the audio is still there. So what are we going to do? We're going to have audio only for this episode. Unfortunately, it's going to have to happen. Like I said, I deleted it, but Keith, this interview rocks. Let's hear it, brother. What do you got?
It was the epitome of a wrestling interview. I loved it. It was like meeting fucking God. Yeah. When it comes to wrestling in the 90s, there was Brett and there was Sean. And when it comes to reffing in the 90s, there was Hebner and there was Chioda. I've always been a Chioda guy, and it was awesome to talk with him and hear him just chat about everything.
Yeah, we really did. Every WrestleMania that he main evented, he reffed. It was a really good conversation. He's from the tri-state, good old South Jersey, born and raised. Really good interview, really good conversation. Again, it's only audio. I apologize. I deleted the video. It won't happen again. Keith, I will save everything on the cloud. But enough of that. Let's get to the interview with Mike Chioda. Welcome back to the Universal Wrestling Podcast. My name is Nick. His name is Keith, but let's not bury the lead. We got the legendary Mike Chioda with us. Mike, I love your picture in the background. Bruce, Mike, what's up, dude? How you doing?
Jersey boy, Bruce. I'll be seeing him in February too, man. So what's happening?
Nice.
What's happening, Keith? Thanks for having me on the show here, man.
Absolutely. How many concerts have you seen?
Bro, I found an envelope not too long ago with all my concert stubs. I used to collect them. That was one of my things when I was a kid. I used to collect them. The first concert was like, God, I was about 13. And seen Ted Nugent, Blackfoot and Crocus opened up for Ted Nugent. My second concert was the Stones.
Nice.
Like 1981, you know. So
yeah.
I've been going, I've probably been over to probably more than about 130 to 40, 50 concerts, something like that. So, and I'm still going. Just seen Vegas a couple months ago. We've seen Coldplay here in Tampa.
Oh,
me and my wife did the outdoor stadium. That was packed. Going to see Bruce here in February in Tampa. So
nice.
Still going to concerts, man. Love them, man. Love them. I'm more of a classic rock guy, though.
Yeah. I seen Bruce's longest concert at Lincoln Financial Field.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Oh my God, it just never ended. I mean, it was great, but it's like, okay, when's the piss break?
That, Billy Joel's like that too.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
You could, man. Me and my wife a couple times, and every time we went to leave early, we're like, oh my God, shit, he's playing that song. I forgot he even plays that song.
Got to run back.
He's another one that can go, man.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Ric Flair's last match was, this year. Maybe it's his last match. We don't know, but I think, this is the internet, so rumors are rumors. I'm not sure if this is true, but I think you said it was your final chapter in your book too. Is that true? Are you done?
No, I mean, I'm not done, and no, by no means. I said it just, I'm like in the process of getting ready to write a book. And
nice.
Just getting a lot of things together, and with the pandemic and everything, and I just made this transition move to Florida 3 years ago from Houston, and I was in Houston for about 14 years. So, and me getting released to the company, I just wanted, man, I got so much shit from the 80s and 90s, whether it's pay stubs to backstage passes to this, to that. And it just took me a while to collect all this stuff and say, okay, I'm ready to write a book now. I got, in case we need pictures from this in the 80s, or in case I need this. And, it's been taking my time and finding the right guy to write the book. So, and, and Ric Flair being his last match, it was just like, I was just glad that I didn't write the book already, because this could be the last chapter in the book, during Ric Flair's last match, because I believe it is probably his last match, man. I mean, so if he goes out and does other things, whether it's a manager or something else or something like that, or I could see him doing that, but he got through it, man, and he had to come, he had to come to the table, man, and he produced that night, man. I'm telling you, the guy was sitting there doing in the dressing room with him and some of the family and everything, an hour before his match, he's doing like 50 rows at a set. He's just sitting there with his trainer and he's just doing rows and just getting his blood pressure up and getting this going and getting going and getting warmed up. And I'm like, holy shit, he's doing about 150 rows, and I can't even do fucking 25 right now, probably.
I'm with you.
But, and he got through the night and, I think everybody was pleased and everything went well, man. Well.
Yeah, it was great. How did something like that go happen? Like, did they reach out and say, "Hey, Mike, yeah, we want you to ref," or is it just because of the whole podcast community thing?
It was not really because of the podcast or anything like that. It was just, Conrad Thompson with his, which is his son-in-law. So I mean, and we do a lot of work. I've been contracted with them for a couple of years with doing podcasts and doing other shows like Starcast and other events around the country. And Conrad just reached out to me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing Ric Flair's last match, man, in Nashville on this date? July 31st." And I said, "Fuck yeah!" I said, "Hell yeah!" Would love to be a part of that, man. I mean, Ric Flair's last match. It's it's something to go down. I mean, I got the jersey back there. I'm getting ready to. I'll have him sign it when I see him here in Tampa on the boat one day, and frame it up. So I mean, and one shirt back there is from the Rock and Hogan match, and that was in Toronto. And I got some other shirts that are framed up and just for special matches and certain ones.
Keith, he said Rock.
And, I mean, he touched on the one there. That's like been one of the, since we kind of knew this was all coming out, it's been like one of the burning things. Like looking over it. I mean, you're
back there from the Rock and Hogan match, and just I got stuff all over the wall. At least my wife gave me one room to put all my shit in there.
We all get one.
I got so much shit in the garage. I'm ready to make the one car garage out of it, like a bar and
museum.
Nice. Yeah. So I mean, kind of leading into this, Nick and I were like talking. It's like it's kind of crazy to me. I think, everyone always talks like in kind of wrestling past and everything. There's always all like Sean and Brett like at the same time and everything. And I feel like in terms of like refs, it's always been like Mike Chioda and Earl Hebner, and like, you're freaking legend. And like just kind of looking into some of this stuff, man. I mean, you did Rock Hogan at Mania 18. You did Cena Rock in 28 too. Like what's it like in that kind of moment? Because I mean, I know you got your own kind of training and everything, being a ref and kind of keeping hands off. But like, how do you like kind of block out just like
the crowd,
that electricity of they're looking at two legends going at it?
Man, I'll tell you, like and I've always said this, like on the Rock and Hogan match, like everybody didn't know how everybody was was going to react. There was talk all day. Should that fucking match be the last match? It shouldn't be, oh no, it's gonna, we're not gonna put it on the last match. Oh, this, I remember Chris Jericho running around saying, and this is 20 years ago, and 202, and he's saying, we shouldn't be going on last, where there's no way we're gonna be able to follow it. Now, this match wasn't gonna be the most highest like technical wrestling match of all, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they had to come to the table and produce for this icon against icon, where Hogan was basically passing the torch to Rock. Right. And I always say, like, a couple years later, Rock took the fucking torch and went to Hollywood. But so I mean, but the reaction from the crowd was just phenomenal, man. I mean, I marked out, like, there's some shots in the beginning of the match where I'm just looking, I couldn't believe the crowd reacted this much when Hogan came out.
Yeah.
And the way it was like 68,000 people in the Sky Dome. It was just phenomenal. I mean, and that's a huge ass, the Sky Dome's a huge ass building. And that thing was just so loud. And it wasn't even like, it sounded like there was 100,000 people in that building. And just from the beginning of the match, the face off to the big shove off, the shoulder tackle, the fucking Hulk up, it was just, the place went fucking nuts. It's just, because, Canada's such a respectable country for wrestling, man. It goes way back to Stu Hart. Yeah. The Dungeon, Bret Hart, and all the phenomenal wrestlers that come out of Canada, like Edge and Christian and just so on and so on. So, I mean, I don't know one Canadian that couldn't work, wasn't a good wrestler, Yeah. So they are very respectful, fans, and they appreciate what Hogan gave to them all them years with him, being Hogan and then doing his thing at NWO and then coming back to the WWE, at the time. But that was amazing. Rock Cena was amazing. and you knew there was a second rematch going on there, so where and that was pretty tough for Cena, I think, to swallow because Cena was running the company for 10 years at least, strong and working hard, man, and the guy worked hard, loyal, and every week on the road, overseas, international, everything. And for Rock to come in off of Hollywood and then boom, he beat Cena that night. It was like, ooh. But and of course, Cena gets the payback, which was
29.
Cool. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So but all the matches, I always say, like they say, what was the best match? Well, Rock and Hogan by a crowd perspective and the way that the fans reacted so much and the way I marked out inside the ring there for a little bit, and then once it got all down to business, you're right. I just block everything out.
Yeah.
And once you get into the match and you get started, you gotta, you're focused on your spots. Like in that night, I was focused on taking that bump and making sure the timing was right on that bump, where I was on the outside of the ring and Rock's hitting the other side of the ropes, and I had to slide in just at the right time. If I don't slide in at the right time and our timing is way off, the bump looks like shit,
Yeah.
Right.
So that's, the bump and just making sure I knew the spots in case Hogan forgot any or anybody was calling spots. But those two guys right there were old school. So if they had a spot to call, they call it in the ring, call it to me, I'd pass it on. So
yeah, I love it.
This match was one of the most memorable matches in my career, but was it the most technical? Like when I did pretty much every match between Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, right after that, and they what a feud they had, man. I mean, that was fucking loved it. And Brock and Roman, and there's so many other matches I've done that just I could say there were just so much more technical matches.
Yeah,
tough matches. Right. Whether you had Guerrero and Benoit and other guys, Kurt Angle and plus many more.
Yeah. You brought up WrestleMania 19, obviously Brock and Angle.
Right.
That Brock doing the whatever the hell that is, the flip
shooting
off
star.
Shooting star.
Shooting star.
I mean, what happens there? You have to go and check on him, right? And
I checked on him, man. His eyes were glassy, man. They were real glassy. And
but it's Brock.
It was Brock. Brock. He fucking you got to remember going into that WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure. I remember. Kurt was banged up tremendously, man. His neck, everything. His neck, and he had to get surgery, or is he going to wait to get surgery, and all this other stuff. I mean, Kurt was banged up himself, man. I mean, that was one guy took a transition to the business quick. Was Kurt Angle coming and being a collegiate Olympic wrestler into a professional wrestler, which is not easy.
No,
and Kurt did it like fucking overnight. It was unbelievable.
I love it. Again, we're gonna stick with the WrestleMania theme. Michaels and Austin, Tyson's in the mix. I mean, just take me through that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I remember when Mike Tyson showed up one night for rehearsal, and he comes up and he's like, "Hey, Mike Chioda, man, what's that?" And I'm like, "Fuck, you know my name?" He was like, "I'm a big fan, man. I'm a big fan." I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Yo, I'm a big fan of yours." So it was cool working with Mike Tyson, getting to meet him. He had much love and much respect for wrestling. And just working with Mike was cool. I mean, I know he counted real fast at the end. And I didn't teach him like that, so he counted 1, 2, 3. I went, "Fuck! I didn't teach him that." I was like, but we were just, we were just going over stuff, and I was trying to just tell him how to count. But he was in the mood. It was a cool thing. I mean, Austin and Sean. Sean was banged up with a bad back. Had to get through that match. He toughed it out all the way through, and that whole era with Stone Cold, Rock, Shawn, Taker, everybody, it was just a phenomenal era.
Yeah.
The Boston Garden. Yeah, I think it was still the Boston Garden, and I think then. So, but the Garden was rocking, man. That's a great place for wrestling.
Yeah, and you were always right there too.
Yeah, well,
it shows the trust,
Yeah, that's why I'm putting out this book, and it might be called Third Man in the Ring. Or I'm gonna see what the title is on it. So
I love it.
But
we got to talk some Philly.
Philly.
How's the crowd? I mean, obviously we hear about Chi-Town, we hear about Boston, but you're in the ring. How is it? How's Philly? How's the crowd?
Philly's great. If they love you, they love you. If they fucking hate you, you're done, bro.
So it's like any sports team. Yeah.
Any sports team. I remember going to Philly. God, man. wearing a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey, I'd still get shit. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? I'll sell you a Super Bowl, and this shit would really start. This is
Yeah.
before Philly had a Super Bowl, but yeah, I mean, God, love Philly because Philly was like just always known as a heel crowd. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
goes back to my days. Like I just told you, that, like the Stones were my second concert. George Thorogood gets up. I was 13 years old. We were at JFK Stadium, 100,000 people. Fucking one hot August day. It was like MRWISP Block Party.
Yeah.
Party. Pierre Robert shit and all that other stuff. We go. We see George Thorogood open up the fucking band. Open up the day. Like the late afternoon, he opened it up. Rocked for about an hour and 45 minutes. He was only supposed to be on for like an hour. He rocked for about an hour, and fucking they took a break, and the next thing you know, Journey came on. I love Journey, and they come on. And Steven, he's like, "Don't stop," and they open up with that song, and it's just fucking Philly just booed him right off the stage, threw bottles at him. I'm like, and I remember they did that to Steven Tyler in like 1976 or 78, and like Aerosmith didn't come back to Philly for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm going, no, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
I remember Perry going, fuck you, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But and like ever since then, I was like, holy shit, fucking Philly's fucking rough, man. What the fuck was that for? And then people had explained it to me because I was young.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was just coming off George Thorogood, that hardcore rock. One bourbon, one shot, one beer, and then he start off with "Don't Stop."
Yeah.
But in wrestling, man, it was great. I'll tell you one more quick story. I remember Road Dogg and DX were doing their thing, and Road Dogg's he had a singles match, and Philly just shit all over the Spectrum. They shit all over him. And fucking, even though he's a baby face, DX was a baby face, basically, heel baby face.
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold,
right.
Or like whoever. And he comes through the crowd. He's got fucking mustard, ketchup, fucking beer, popcorn sticking to him. I mean, completely fucking doused in every fucking thing.
Yeah.
They had it at the concessions, it was on him. And he came through and he looked up at everybody, and all the boys were sitting in the back, and he knew he was getting doused. He just goes, fuck, they call this the city of brotherly love? What the fuck? I just started dying. But but Philly's been a great crowd, man. I love Philly because if you don't produce, they'll shit on you, which is, hey.
Yeah.
Tell you like it is.
Yeah, I think I was there for the Roman Reigns Rumble when he won.
Right.
And there was booze.
Yeah.
But look at him now.
Yeah. I mean, well, they're pushing him to the tilt. They push it. Roman deserves it. I mean, I don't. You got to have Roman. Roman's great athlete, man. Great talent, and you've seen he had to be the face of the company a while back. You've seen that coming. So it was really, what a match he had over in Wales, man, with Drew McIntyre. That was fucking phenomenal. That was great.
So you still watch the current product, I guess, when you can?
Yeah, still watch. Definitely follow up on some things and stuff. Look at, watch AEW a little bit here and there, and watch WWE. WWE's getting a little cartoonish and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
AEW wants to pull the strings, but I think with Triple H now, you never know. I mean, he may take it to another level,
Yeah.
For sure.
So we'll see. Hopefully he does. I'm sure he will. He's got a great mind for the business, all aspects.
Well, so sticking there with AEW, I know. So they brought you in. You refed the Cody TNT title match against.
Yeah.
It's failing me now.
Well, I worked a match with Darby. It was
Darby.
And then
that was the one.
Yeah, Cody, and then I did a couple other matches or something like that.
I think it was
Samoa. Samoa
Most
Joe.
Recent one for the Owen Hart.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That was nice. I mean, AEW, I don't know. He's just Tony Khan's not a big fan of the referees, man. I don't know.
Really?
Well, I mean, like
you can tell.
He's bringing in all the talent, and I'd love to be there. I would have loved to have been there, work a little bit or whatever he wanted me to do. So I remember Cody trying to get me in, to train the referees or to help them out or just to do my thing and, just whatever, give my 35 years experience, 35 years with WWE, but 33 years of referee. And so, I made my debut on TV in 89 and I was refereeing starting about in 87 with Joey Morella from South Jersey and Gorilla Monsoon. So we grew up in Willingboro, New Jersey, there in the late '70s, mid '70s, and early '80s.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess just like with that AEW environment, I mean, you kind of answered it and just selling it there. But like, so what was having come from being in WWE for so long and then kind of going in there, like what was the difference like in environment? Because I mean, all the wrestlers always talk about when AEW came around, it was like the promised land for so many people and stuff. So like, kind of know the opinion there, but like from that ref aspect, like what was it?
They got a great vibe going on over there. I mean, I know things are out of control a little bit, or something's going on.
We'll get back to that.
But, yeah. So I mean, but that just comes, that just comes with talent. You got to have certain guys running that certain position, talent relations, where they can control the talent.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, they got a great vibe and a great thing going on. They don't travel international. I don't know why. They should make it and break it out to international, because I think they would really sell out, make a lot of money. Tony Khan, to me, is got a great, with Cody starting out with Tony Khan, they started a great thing, and now there's another place to go for the boys. Now the boys they're just not in a cave and where they just got to work for WWE and there's nowhere else to really go.
Yeah.
So I mean, another big league with billions of dollars and big money to back it up. So now there is, so I mean, you see Cesaro, and certain other guys that they get released now, boom, next thing you know, Tony Khan's got them,
Yeah.
So I mean, now it's like, look how WWE picked up Cody real quick, because they were like, oh, you're having problems over there, shit, we'll take you back, So and it was tough. That's why, like, Cody had he was pushing for me to get in there, and then I wasn't stressing. I was like, hey, they want me to come in and help out and referee a few matches and referee pay-per-views, do whatever. That's fine with me, but it just didn't pan out like that. So
yeah. Hey, it's their loss, that's for sure.
Definitely. I don't know how you say. I don't know how you hear Mike Chioda and say, "Nah, we're good." It's crazy.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean, and I don't know sometimes if it's an age factor or that's why I don't even know with WWE. I mean, I'm 56, but I didn't want to referee till I was 60 years old either, or 50.
Yeah.
I didn't want to keep refereeing until I'm 60 with these young kids, But
yeah,
I only had a couple more years on my belt anyway. That's why I was like, when working with, I was with the company 35 years. Tony Chimmel 38 years.
Yeah.
A bunch of guys that got released were over 30 years. It was like we all had 30 something years plus.
Yeah.
So like, holy shit, they're cleaning house. So age or how many years there or what,
Yeah. But, yeah, we had Tony Chimmel on a few months ago.
Oh yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah,
he told me to tell you to say hi, but
yeah,
talk. Yeah.
I'm surprised he did your show.
Yeah.
He's always bitching about the podcast. I'm like, bro, I put in like 200 hours like last year during COVID. I'm like, what the hell? He's like, oh, I ain't doing anything unless I get paid for it. I'm like, well, you'll be sitting home fucking talking to your TV.
Yeah, he's got those, what is it, chimeos, he calls it? The cameos?
Yeah, the cat.
Yeah, he's a man.
Chimeos. He's too much.
Yeah. I got to ask, in ring, I know we see a lot of in-ring action with the ref as well, but when it comes to like mishaps,
yeah,
do you have any that come to mind that you're like, oh shit, like I wasn't supposed to count to 3, or this guy's, being disrespectful, he's out of here, like anything like that?
Yeah, it was like a few years ago. I remember it was R-Truth and Shinjuku, not Shinjuku, Japan. I mean, God, I think he's from Shinjuku. Shinsuke
Nakamura, yeah.
Nakamura. So we were talking over the match, and Ronnie said, yeah, he goes, I'm gonna roll him up 1, 2, 3, So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So like, and it was for the United States champion or something like that.
Okay.
And actually Vince loved it because it was fucking great or something. But it was supposed to be on the second roll up, and Ronnie never told me that. No. So fucking they tried to keep going. I said, no, that was it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then fucking and Ronnie was like, oh, dog, you're supposed to be on the second roll up. I was like, you just told me the first roll up. You never told me there was this. Why would you roll him up twice?
Yeah.
It's like, you would fucking schoolboy him once and then schoolboy him again to get the win. I'm like, what the fuck? That don't make sense. He's like, yeah, it doesn't. My bad, dog. I'm like, all right, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Like little shit like that happens, fucks up. But Vince loved it. Vince was like, "Oh, fucking great. Yeah, why would you fucking roll him up twice?" Or so. But little shit like that mishaps. But I had no major counts, no major, nothing on pay-per-views or where I fucked up, because that was one thing. As a referee, you better get in there and do your job, because after these boys put on a 30 to a 45 minute to an hour match or a marathon, whatever it is, you better not fuck up your part, because if you got one bump and they're bumping like 40, 50 times in that match and taking chair shots or taking this or tables or whatever they're doing to each other, during the match. And if it's a referee's one bump he's got to take, you better be there for it. It better look good. And the referee should, he has to do his job and don't fuck up and screw up in the finishes. That's the most important part.
What about those manager interferences? How do you not know they're there?
Yeah, right.
What the hell?
You got to remember, though, referees get paid not to see in the wrestling.
Yeah.
So we get paid not to see.
Yeah.
But it's distractions and all that other stuff. If you don't make a referee look stupid, if you outsmart the referee, the match flows much better.
Yeah.
Things go much better. It doesn't look so choreographed. And just as long as either, it's the tag team's partner or a manager, and they're outsmarting the referee and not too long, and don't hold the referee too long, then it just, everything flows well. But there could be ways that you work it where if you're there too long with a manager, if you're just, there's so many different ways you can bury a referee.
Yeah.
And if all goes well, then it looks great, because wrestling is choreographed. So I mean, you basically got to look your spots. You got to make the referee's spots look not so that he's not so stupid that you're just outsmarting him real quick.
Yeah.
It makes a whole world of a difference in a match.
Yeah.
Did you see the Wales match? Did you see the Wales match? Did you see Roman and Drew?
Oh,
match?
yeah, and Drew.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see where near the end where Roman grabbed Charles Robinson?
Yes.
Right before the bump. Knew the bump was coming there. Like, as soon as he went to grab him, and it took so long to develop because he kept grabbing Charles and arguing him. And I'm like, holy shit, he's either gonna fucking charge him and move, or he's just gonna plow into the pile. And it's exactly what happened. But it was like so telegraphed.
Yeah.
I wish that would have been shortened up just a little bit,
Yeah. I agree, because like you're looking at it, it's like, okay, it's coming. When is it coming?
Right. Something was coming.
It,
you knew that with the rep bump, and then it came.
Yeah.
I mean, I did, I knew the barricade spot when Roman was feeding. I said, oh, don't tell me to do that barricade broken spot again. Two big dudes going.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so over that spot. They do it way too much. It's crazy.
Way too much, right? I hear it.
Crazy.
Doing it so much, but but Roman made it work. I mean, because they did get me on the false finish, because I actually thought they were going to maybe put it on Drew real quick.
Yeah.
And then turn it back to Roman when they got back into the States or something. But no, they did get me on that one false finish, though.
Yeah.
They got me. But hell of a match.
Speaking of Roman and celebrities, we brought up Tyson, and Logan Paul is going to be featured at the Saudi Arabia event. What are your thoughts on celebrities? I mean, I know it's really important to the WWE, but just in general, like part of the show.
Man, it doesn't bother me one bit. I mean, in my 35 years with WWE and traveling, and I got so many pictures of celebrities all over the place. William Shatner and all, Samuel Jackson, and just a ton of celebrities, man. I mean, I got The Rock all over the wall. He became one hell of a celebrity, and I mean, it's pretty cool meeting people. Like I met Robert Plant in England, in Birmingham, England, one time. Fuck, I never knew I'd meet Robert Plant. One of my favorite bands, Led Zeppelin. Ted Nugent came to a show one time. There was a ton of people, just a ton of celebrities and rock stars, and Kid Rock, and it's just, I think it's great. I mean, it helps. It does help, when you have celebrities there and you're sitting in front row, and you add them onto the show.
Any interactions?
Interactions as far as what do you mean?
Like backstage or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. Yeah, you talk to a lot of celebrities backstage and you get pictures with them and stuff like that. And, and it was cool with me. I mean, they seem to have a lot of respect for the business, and because they know it's entertainment. They know it's a hell of a show. I mean, when you look at WrestleMania and the SummerSlams that we're putting on now, man, that's like, God, we're running like 4 Super Bowls every year.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble or this one or these big stadiums. I mean, WWE is, and they're running like all these big stadiums, which we used to run every once in a while. But, people love wrestling, man. They love wrestling. As long as their kids are growing up, everybody goes to that stage. They're going to make daddy take them to wrestling or,
Yeah.
And daddy's probably making a kid go to wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. What do you got, Keith?
Well, so kind of going back there a little bit to what Nick was talking about, different things going on in the ring and gotten to call it and everything. Right. It's been one of those things I always kind of wondered about. You always catch the earpiece in the referee's ear. There was the big thing a couple of years ago, or it might have been only like a year or so, or whatever, where they there was like that leaked list of like terms for like commentators of like, don't say this kind of stuff. And, them talking about constantly having like Vince in the ear and everything.
Right.
Imagine it's a pretty similar kind of situation for you guys in the ring there. Maybe not as on hand, but is that kind of the vibe there? It's just them feeding in there, just like, oh, listen, no, call it this way, let them know timing and all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, Vince, if you go over Vince with certain things in a certain match with him before the match, he works a gorilla on the other side, like right next to Billy Kidman. So Vince would used to like work with Triple H up there, or an agent at that time, Johnny Laurinaitis, and it would be Kidman, and then the producer of the match, by sitting by each other. So Vince would never directly, there was only a few times in my career where Vince got on directly with me was, with Shane and Kurt Angle.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
First, he's fucking, freaking out, screaming, but there was only a few times where Vince got on it because it was always he was screaming at Billy. Billy would fucking scream at us, and then you'd have the producer fucking in your ear too. It's like you hear Vince in the background, Billy's through the IFB, fucking Jamie Noble or Michael Hayes or somebody else's, through your IFB too. And it's like sometimes I had to pull that fucking thing out because I had to focus on the match.
Yeah,
I couldn't deal with all the fucking drama. And half the time they're trying to call a spot to tell the guys to do something, and they're already past that spot, and it's like, fuck, I can't tell them to do that. We were just going to do that, and they're doing something else. It gets confusing, but it's not easy because then you got to hit the times. The times, right. Now it's for the network, but when you're on USA and live on, Friday nights and Mondays, you just got to hit the times. The cues are very important when you're coming off that 11:10 at night.
Yeah.
Or you coming off at 10 o'clock at night, that's, and your crossovers and stuff like that in and out of commercials. That's very important.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of bullshit over the IFP. It is.
Of course. We got to get back to WrestleMania real quick.
Mm-hmm.
The heist of the century, WrestleMania 31. Phenomenal. I mean, how does that go down? I guess, do you know, like, Seth is going to cash in, or you don't want to know? You just want to, know who's going to win, and that's it.
No, you kind of want to know.
Of course. I mean, to do your job, right?
But it's not like we're trying to fool ourselves. We're just trying to swerve the fans. So yeah. I mean, I knew everything with Seth coming down and all this, and so I mean, with that happening, I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, Brock and Roman had a freaking phenomenal match, man. Phenomenal match. And Seth Rollins cash. I mean, it was just it was a long way, because I remember we were just worried about the spot because he had such a long way to go, to come down. But he hustled because he knew he was going to be champion, that's for sure.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I love that Money in the Bank cashing in.
Yeah, it's great. It's great for fans too.
Yeah, it is great. It's definitely exciting.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I remember, the most best like reaction I used to get in the most fans these days. I've cashed in quite a few Money in the Banks, whether it was Miz or this or that. And everybody brings up the Carmella deal. I love that the most.
Oh, with Ellsworth?
Huh?
Was that with? No, that's how she won it.
That's how she is.
Right.
Yeah. That's how
No, but because I feel like part of it was probably because she had like, I mean, at least from the women's one coming into it, she still to this day, I'm pretty sure, has like the longest, like she held on to it for the longest. Everybody else that's won it, like they got it and they put it right up the next night. She held it for like a little bit. So
yeah, she did hold it for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she kept trying to
like maybe that kind of
yeah.
I feel like maybe that kind of helped with it. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that one hadn't really thought of that until you said it. That was definitely like a really kind of uncharacteristically loud
yeah, it was just screaming at me, and I'm sitting there going, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" Like 10 times, and she's screaming. I remember he was screaming so loud it was piercing my ears. I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Yeah. But everybody loved that cash in. I'm like, when she was trying to cash it in, I'm like, "Holy shit!" Everybody talks about that more than they talk about the Seth Rollins deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seth Rollins deal was big, huge. He's a phenomenal wrestler, man.
Oh yeah.
He first came in, and every time I seen him work, he was pulling out a new stunt, new performance in the ring. It was just a new move, and I'm like, where the fuck did you come up with that?
Yeah.
Guy's phenomenal. He is.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with WrestleMania because I mean, come on, 23, that bump. Do you take that a couple times, or just like, Michaels hit me, and that's it? Like, how does
Which
that
one
go?
was this?
Wasn't it 23? You took the Sweet Chin music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that felt phenomenal. I mean, I remember shit like Sean just used to place that so good, man. And it always, you got to turn your face if you don't want your nose broken or you don't want your teeth knocked out.
Yeah.
And you just tell them to bring it, man. That's it. Like, and I've always told them, just bring it, man. If you hit me, you stiff me, so what?
Yeah.
It just doesn't look like shit then.
Yeah.
And, I remember Sean, it was just like, I barely even felt that. I was like, and I remember with Sean one time broke my nose with a forearm. Man, I remember he went to go hit Razor or somebody who was working a match years ago, and they duck. And Sean like comes and forearms me, and I'm crossing behind the heel at Ducks, and then boom, Sean hits me with the forearm, knocks me out for the match, but he broke my nose. But it's not his fault because I didn't really turn around. I didn't turn my face, soon enough. So there's a lot of things, a lot of shit that happens in wrestling. But it was, I mean, when a bump goes that well with the referee, you did your job, you're happy.
Yeah.
And whether you're out for the night or whatever you did, but when the bump goes well, you're completely satisfied.
Yeah.
So, I mean, moving away from Mania a little bit, but still kind of sticking with the bumps and everything. You had in my opinion, a pretty pivotal part of the invasion there when it was you, Jericho, and The Rock versus the Dudleys and Nick Patrick.
Yes, sir.
And I believe it was the referee's elbow, not the people's elbow, maybe.
Right.
A little pin on there. What was that kind of whole experience like? Because I can't imagine,
Hey, that was
the stories of Bubba anyway nowadays. I can't imagine going into the room and him walking in and seeing like, oh, I'm working with the refs tonight. Like I can't imagine that went over too well. So, like, what was that kind of like?
That is funny because I mean, I walk into TV that day and the writers come up and they're like, oh, you got a match tonight. I'm like, well, shit, I didn't expect to have the night off. And they're like, no, you're actually wrestling. I said, who am I reffing? And they go, no, you're actually wrestling a match tonight. I'm like, what? I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I said, wrestling who? I said, oh my God, this is gonna look like shit. I'm like, well, why would you? And they're like, oh, you're gonna tag up with The Rock and Jericho, and you're facing the Dudleys and Nick Patrick. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I hope this shit's gonna look good,
Yeah.
And me and Nick are like worried all day. We're like, oh shit, I hope he takes his bump inside the ring good, like he gets tossed in and peeled in. We're all just worried about all the spots, and it turned out good, man. I remember Bubba going, Chioda, if you don't sell my fucking clothesline, he goes, you are gonna be in fucking deep shit. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I'm like, Bubba, I won't fucking sell it. He goes, I mean, you fucking sell it, Chioda. And I'm like, he's like, you're a fucking referee. You're not one of the boys. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, all right, Bubba, all right. I got you. I didn't have a fucking choice. He came and brought that clothesline. Yeah. And if you go back and watch that, I had my arm on my chest, even while I was trying to give the fucking people's elbow. I'm running across the ring like a little bitch with fucking still selling my chest. And I sold it all the way to the back.
Yeah.
And Bubba goes, fucking goddamn Chioda, you oversold that shit. I'm like, what? He was fucking with me though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great, man. I mean, it was just phenomenal. I couldn't believe I was going to be, you know, was part of a fucking match on the main event, you know, on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And had a lot of fun with it. You know, I really don't even remember in the last 20 years has a referee done that, you know, been in a match with, you know, in a main event match. So yeah, it was a pretty cool feeling and glad everything worked out okay. My shit didn't look too weak.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's the common theme when it comes to your career, just the trust, you know?
Yeah. It was a lot of fun doing that, man. So, you know, as a one-time thing, I was like, oh, where are we going from here to the writers? You know, am I going to start making big money? No, that was it. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. We had Shamrock on the podcast a few weeks ago.
Right.
And we asked him, you know, one of his favorite ribs. He brought up Owen, and Owen lubed up the knob on the door. Do you got any favorite ribs? It doesn't have to be about Owen, but just something in general.
Tons of ribs, man.
Yeah. Let's hear a good one that you haven't told.
I mean, shoot, I'm telling a lot, but I had Bulldog back in the day, man, where he would cut off like people's suit jackets or a sleeve to their sweat jacket or something, you know, and cut it like almost all the way off, and then you put your arm through and they go put it on. They cut the shoelaces. I remember Owen used to send pizzas to Zeus's room international tours, man. He used to flip out because the pizzas would get charged to the room, you know, and then delivered to his fucking room and they'll be automatically charged in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, shit like that. I remember Owen used to call up Zeus, fucking with him on the phone at the hotel rooms. I'm going back like some years. Just tons of ribs, man. People cutting people's hair off. I mean, it was like eyebrows would get shaved if you're on a bus long ride if you didn't watch it, you know.
Yeah.
You're drunk, passed out. There'd be a ton of ribs going on. You know, sometimes there were not so good ribs, you know, when you had, I remember what's her face, Sunny, and they shitting her food on a European tour in the beef stew. And I was on a tour bus, and all you did was hear her start screaming because I go, oh man, it was fucked up. I was in the back of the bus, and you just hear her screaming. You know, she just realized she just ate shit with her beef stew. So it was like leftover food catering in Europe would leave you, and you tell them what you want, you know, and then the kitchen would make one up for you and leave your name on it. And then, you know, I guess, you know, Sonny had to eat with whoever it was. It was like, you know, the X-Pac and DX crew back then, the Click. I don't know which one did it, but anyway, yeah, also, you know, like those ribs were like, woo.
Yeah, a little too far.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that kind of shit happened. I'll tell you that, man.
Yeah, I
it
bet.
was always like, you know, you got to watch out for yourself. That's for sure.
Kind of, you know, prepping for today, you know, because like I said, I feel like you're such like an integral part of like my growing up in wrestling. I mean, you've been everywhere. It was really hard to like pinpoint exact ones to talk about,
right.
With different stuff. But like one of the random things that popped up that I was like really curious about it. So I just generally, if it's like true or what the hell it was like, if it is true. So somewhere, I think it was on like one of those like fan wiki ones of everything. Right. It said that you and Chimmel recorded the grunts for the WWF Royal Rumble game for Sega in '93. Is that a real thing, or is that
I remember
some random shit?
No, Chimmel used to do some stuff too. Yeah, I think he was like when he was ring announcing that. I think he did some voiceovers for that. You know, I can't remember if I did it. I remember I did quite a few things, and then, you know, then I was on a SmackDown game, and then when I finally asked for royalties, they cut me out of the SmackDown game because they weren't giving referees royalties and stuff like that. So, and I heard I was just in the 2022 like the K game.
Oh yes, and you blurred out, right?
I was blurred out.
Yeah,
and
bullshit.
He fucking blurred me out like they ain't got enough money to go around, you know. And then, you know, me and my wife, we sit back and she'll, babe, do you want to watch this legend thing or this, you know, biography on this? And I'm like, yeah, let's check it out. You know, that they're doing all this biography stuff.
Oh, and A&E,
the A&E
and
stuff.
I'm on like fucking 80% of all over the place with on all these matches.
Yeah,
going back from the 80s and 90s, and you know, and it's like, god damn, like, all right, so they want to pay me on the, you know, the video game when there's a ton of money out there, you know. But I remember one day, like, I woke up on Twitter, and I'm not on this social media stuff too much at all, but I looked at Twitter was blowing up because people, were pissed about they blurred me out, and I'm like, they just never wanted to give referees royalties, I was just talking to my one buddy and referee, this kid that's reffing now, and he had to go out to the West Coast, and he's still paying for his hotels and cars and stuff, I'm like, oh fuck, how much is the rental car, for the loop? $400 or $500. Oh my god, gas out in California.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Fucking 200. I'm like, what? That he's gonna be spending like $1,000 just on the weekend shows,
Yeah,
for expenses. It's like some of the referees are still paying their out of pocket stuff.
Yeah,
which I don't get. AEW now pays for everything. They pay for the hotels, everything. I mean, that's what I said when I went down there, accommodating, hotel, car, transportation, food, everything. So
I got to bring it up.
Good.
CM Punk, the press conference, that shit show. What are your thoughts, man? I mean, obviously you've been through it all when it comes to wrestling.
Right.
You had to be maybe nothing compared to that, but something similar. I mean, what do you do? I mean, he's talking shit. The CEO's just sitting right there not doing anything. I mean, weird.
Right. I get that. See, like to me, it's like, I'd like to see, to me, it's just my opinion. Tony Khan should stay off those press conferences, a lot of them. CM Punk, I have nothing but a lot of respect for, man. He's always respected me in my career, working with him and for him. It was great to see him. I seen him for a quick 5 minutes. We talked, in Vegas. And I don't know the whole story of it yet. I hear, I speak to a lot of the boys that work for, AEW still, but are they poking at him? Keep poking on social fucking media and all this stuff. Were they poking at him and then he's striking back? I mean, I don't know. It's just I have the most. I mean, I know CM Punk for a lot of years. I know he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
And you can't blame a guy that speaks his mind in this business too. I know it got him in trouble in WWE, but look, the guy sells tickets and he can wait. He just draws. He draws.
Yeah.
So I really don't know the whole story. But, Tony Khan sitting there with him all the time, if the press conference goes good, but if it goes bad, then it's just makes everybody look bad. Maybe, does Tony Khan need to sit out there in these press conferences and podcasts all the time? Do they need to really do them like that every time? So you could just, I don't know. It's just, I think they'll get their shit together. I think everybody will come to, when MJF went off, man, I watched that promo and I said, fuck, I was like, please tell me he's not shooting because, this would be a great fucking angle,
Yeah.
To me, that was a work. That was a complete work. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, because they do give the finger on, AEW. They do curse. They do other shit. And I'm thinking, so why are they so pissed at, like MJF doing what he did? You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking, he cursed. He did this. He did that. Okay. But, to me, I like to see stuff like that and turn it into an angle.
Yeah.
Maybe a shoot angle. And I mean, I don't know. So I mean, everybody gets stripped their titles. They go back. I think they'll pick it back up, let things cool down, or and they're all professionals. They're all in this business to make money, And I don't know. Maybe I don't see where the Young Bucks have anything to do with the heavyweight championship. Kenny Omega, right? Does.
Yeah.
But, supposedly those three guys went up to his door in the locker room?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. It's all back and forth. They went and then either knocked or they kicked it down. One of those two.
Right. Yeah. I heard
Kenny was protecting the dog and
Right. Okay.
I don't know.
Yes. Everything's hearsay. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. That's what it
the
is.
only thing that feels like it's been like confirmed, quote unquote, anyway, was I saw a thing the other day that Omega was on like some TV show in Japan,
right? And
he had like a bite mark bruise on his arm because supposedly, but maybe confirmed now, Ace Steel bit him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Ace Steel.
Okay, gotcha.
Supposedly, and it looks like people are saying it's a bite mark. It could be a bruise. I mean, it looks like guy hit the turnstile in the subway.
Right.
But everyone's like, no, it's a bite mark. He did it.
Right. I mean, AEW's got a hell of a lot of talent over there right now. They got some damn good talent. And CM Punk, Kenny Omega, you got all, I was shocked to see Cody go back. I really was. With Cody had started with Tony Khan, this whole, starting that AEW. I was just shocked that Cody went back, and Tony Khan let him go. So, you knew there was things going haywire up on the top already, before all this. So it's just, I think they'll work it out. I mean, you got Daniel Bryan, you got Jericho there, you got a lot of old school talent. You got Big Show and
Regal.
Yeah, Regal, right? You got Regal there, and you got Arn Anderson, these agents, and Dean Malenko, and make somebody the head of talent relations.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring in Johnny Laurinaitis, maybe, but I mean,
no.
And I mean, he is the best at what he does as far as talent. He knows his shit about this business, Johnny.
Yeah.
But you probably can't bring. But I mean, you got to bring somebody in to make Big Show something like head of talent relations. Who's gonna give Big Show shit?
Right.
Exactly.
But so I mean, maybe you just need a guy that's always been there to take the heat, like Johnny Laurinaitis, a Jim Ross, and so forth, to handle your talent. J.J. Dillon over the years, and all these other guys. So, and that's what Vince did. He always had somebody to handle the talent.
Yeah.
So I mean, he gets somebody in that position. Maybe Tony Khan could sit back a little bit and just make the decisions, and from what he hears, so
yeah.
Well, we'll see how that goes. I mean, Tony Khan's doing a phenomenal job. And, like Hunter said on some interview, he's like, hey, am I worried about AEW? No, they beat my farm league. They beat my AAA league in ratings. Well, that's a fucking start. That's a start. You got to beat the AAA before you beat the best club.
So, I mean, you got to beat the minor leagues.
Yeah, got to at least beat the minor leagues before you get to the big leagues and beat them. So, I mean, they got something going good on there. I think this will all blow by before you know it. In a month or two, we'll be talking about something else,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, it's been 3 years. They're still a small company.
Yeah.
When it comes to how, the lifelong.
Yeah. I mean, I know Kenny and them guys. I mean, I met Kenny a couple times in the Bucks. They were always cool dudes and very respectful, very nice. And do I know Punk? Yes. And he's always been good to me in my career, and good guy to me, and right back at him, and I give him nothing but props too. So I really don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
So I can't really, comment on it.
Yeah,
really.
it's rumors. Yep.
Yeah, It's all rumors.
All right, Mike, let's end it on a high note. I'm going to give you a few names. Just give me your thoughts, anything about the guys. Are you ready?
All right.
Chris Jericho.
He's the man. God bless him. He's still going, man. At his age and everything, just, every time I see him, he's always hustling, doing cruises, working wrestling cruises, working this. Going do Fozzy. Chris Jericho's a great guy, man. Love him.
John Cena,
hardworking dude. A little tired of hearing his voiceovers on TV lately. I mean, he's on every fucking thing.
Even the commercials, yeah.
John Cena made us a lot of money in 10 or 12 years. Hard worker. Good luck to Hollywood, and I know he wants to do Hollywood real big, and he's hustling, and he always followed that loyalty, respect, thing.
Yeah.
And good luck with him.
The Rock.
The man.
Yeah. Thought that was a pretty easy one. Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon. He's a great guy, man. I mean, he's one of my good friends. I miss him. I actually touched base. We talked to him. August 1st was my birthday. He reached out, and then he reached out. I was on my way home from Nashville, and how the Flair match went, and everything went on that match and everything. So we talked a little bit there. Shane started with us when he was very young in his business. He used to work with me and Tony Chimmel on the ring crew. He learned everything up from the bottom all the way to the top. Miss him dearly. I know he's doing well. So yeah, I'd like to see him play a bigger part, a bigger role in the WWE at some point, sometime. I'd like to see that. And that's it. Shane had much respect. I mean, when I got released, he was the one. He called me from Vermont when he was over there. He was in, with his family in Vermont with COVID, and he called me a couple of days later, and we talked and stuff. And he was the only one who called me. I didn't hear from Vince, Stephanie, or anybody else.
Yeah.
I guess him and Vince butted heads and stuff. And that's it, and Vince is a stubborn guy. Same with Shane. He's a stubborn guy as well, too. So, I mean, it happens in families,
3 more names. Shawn Michaels.
Great worker, man. Phenomenal worker, great guy. Worked him for a lot of years. It was great to see. He's a legend, icon. So is with a lot of other boys, but just Shawn. I remember when he came into WWF, with the Rockers, with him and Marty Jannetty, and to see him to make that transition from going to a tag team to a singles, wrestler, to just this complete big out showstopper star, and had some of the most best matches with Shawn Michaels, man.
Scott Hall.
God rest him. God bless, man, with Scott Hall. Love Scott, man. He always loved how I counted. I'll never forget the day he told me that, when 1, 2, 3 kid had a fucking go over him in Manhattan Center.
Yeah.
And he goes, Coyote, you better fucking count so fast. And he's like, I want that fucking 1, 2, 3 quick as fucking possible. And I'm like, you got it, Razor. You got it. No problem. Because I'm fucking telling you. And he was shooting because, it was a big deal when the boys would go over or somebody would do a job for somebody. It was a big deal. Then he took that shit with pride. Like Shawn Michaels and Razor and other guys, Diesel or anybody, a lot of them guys took that shit as pride. Like, I got to do the job for him.
Yeah.
But, Razor Ramon, it was just, it was sad his life ended so early. Loved work with him. Never forget, before I was refereeing, a lot, I used to take the ropes. And Razor I used to take the ropes, from the guys on the outside of the ring. And he'd always be like, he'd take that toothpick and he'd give me his jewelry, his jacket. He's like, all right, Chico, Coyote, I'm sorry. And he'd take that thing out of his mouth, flick it in my face. Taking rope up when I was first starting out. And, it's just a lot of fun with Razor in the ring, outside the ring, and everything, man.
All right. The best for last. Tony Chimmel. Let's hear it.
He is the man.
Yeah.
I love Tony Chimmel, man. He's me and him, we traveled the road for 20 something years in the truck, man, and did the ring crew and stuff like that for at least 21, 22 years or so. And we busted our ass, man. And we basically live with each other for at least 300 days a year or more sometimes. And he taught me a lot when I first started in the business, like Joey did, refereeing and other things, and working for Gorilla Monsoon. And Chimmel took care of me. He was about 4 or 5 years older than me, 4 years older than me. So I mean, he always looked out for me, which I appreciated. And Tony Chimmel could do no wrong in my eyes, even though he runs his trap too much. But I'm hoping he's getting his gig with AEW. We'll see. So I don't know.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So
Mike, again,
they just haven't hired him yet either.
Yeah, we need it. The rated R.
Stop. No, he's on some skating rink. He's on a big painting in some skating rink or some kind of
in Jersey.
Yeah, in Cherry Hill.
Oh,
my sister said, yeah, it's Muhammad Ali, and I think
Tony Chimmel.
Hold on, Tony was in the middle. It was Muhammad Ali and somebody else on the right. I forgot it was a boxer. It wasn't. No, it was a wrestler. God, I forgot who the worker was back in the day. But yeah, he's on some big mural.
Dope. Yeah,
Inoki?
Yeah,
is it Antonio Inoki?
What's that? No, it was
not that one.
Old school. It was like Gorgeous George or
all right,
somebody like from way back.
Probably somebody from Jersey too, right? Yeah. Nice.
But
Mike, you're the man. Thank you so much for taking the time. This might be a stupid question, but give the people what they want. How can we find you?
Man, you can find me at Twitter at MGC Chioda. And I got some merch at ProWrestlingTees.com and stuff. And have a podcast every Monday with ad-free shows. And it's Monday Mailbag with Mike Chioda. And we have a fun time on there with Paulie B. Bromwell and ad-free shows. And that's pretty much it. Otherwise, you can just catch me on my email.
Awesome. You can find us on Twitter at the UW Pod and Instagram at UW Podcast. Mike, one last thing. Go Birds!